The ground shook so violently that morning, buildings cracked, glass shattered, and screams filled the streets. Amid the chaos, a single dad named Ryan was running late to the most important job interview of his life. He clutched his worn leather folder, holding his carefully prepared resume, every step powered by the hope of giving his daughter a better future. But fate had different plans. As the earthquake ripped through the city, Ryan's eyes caught sight of a stranger pinned under fallen debris, her voice faint, her eyes desperate. His heart pounded. If he stopped, he might lose the job that could change his and his daughter's life. If he didn't, a human life could be lost right in front of him. Ryan chose humanity over ambition. What he didn't know was that this moment, this one choice, would alter the course of his life in ways he never imagined. Stay with me until the end, because what happens hours later will leave you believing in destiny itself. Ryan dropped his folder and dashed toward the rubble. Dust filled his lungs as he pulled away broken bricks, ignoring the sting of cuts on his hands. The woman trapped beneath the collapsed wall was terrified, tears streaking through the dust on her face. "Please, don't leave me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I won't," Ryan promised, his voice steady despite his own fear. With sheer strength and determination, he lifted a heavy beam, freeing her legs. His muscles burned, but he kept going until she could crawl out. She collapsed into his arms, shaking uncontrollably. Ryan looked into her eyes for just a second, reassuring her, then carried her toward safety, where survivors were gathering in an open park. He laid her gently on the grass, checked for wounds, and gave her his own water bottle. The ground rumbled again with aftershocks, but Ryan stayed calm, protecting her and others around. Hours passed. He never made it to his interview. Instead, he spent the day helping strangers, carrying the injured, comforting crying children, and holding hands of those too afraid to stand alone. By evening, exhaustion wrapped around his body, but his heart felt lighter than ever. He thought about his daughter, Lily, waiting at home with the neighbor, and guilt pricked him. He had promised her that today was the start of something new, that he'd finally secure a job that would put food on their table without worry. Instead, he had nothing to show, no job, no income, just bloodied hands and torn clothes. As the sky darkened, Ryan sat on a broken bench, wondering how he'd face her. That's when a black car pulled up near the park. Out stepped the same woman he had saved, now cleaned up, though her eyes still carried the shock of the morning. She walked straight toward him. Her name was Elena. She looked at Ryan with gratitude that words could barely contain. "You don't know what you did for me," she said softly. Ryan smiled warily. "I just did what anyone should do." She shook her head. "No, most people wouldn't have stopped. You risked everything for me." Silence lingered, and then she asked, "Why weren't you at work today? You don't look like a man who can afford to miss it." His shoulders sank. "I had a big interview. The kind that could have changed everything for my daughter and me. But I didn't make it." For a long moment, Elena studied him with a gaze that felt both searching and gentle. Then she said something that would shift his world again. "Ryan, I was the one who was supposed to interview you." The words froze him in place. He blinked, not sure if he had heard right. Elena explained that she wasn't just any woman. She was the director of the company he had applied to. Earlier that morning, she had left her office to meet with candidates when the earthquake struck. "If you had chosen your interview instead of me," she whispered, her voice breaking, "I wouldn't be standing here." Ryan's throat tightened. He hadn't saved her for recognition, and yet destiny had drawn the lines this way. Alana placed a hand over his torn sleeve, tears filling her eyes. "You don't need to sit in an office chair to prove your worth. You proved everything today." Hours later, she offered him more than just the job. She offered him a chance to work alongside her on rebuilding efforts, turning his compassion and strength into a role that would change not only his life, but the lives of countless others. That night, Ryan returned home to Lily, who ran into his arms. He told her everything, his voice trembling with relief. "Daddy didn't make it to the interview," he said, "but something even greater happened." She pressed her small hand to his cheek and whispered, "I knew you'd be a hero." And that's the truth of Ryan's story. Sometimes, we think we're losing everything when we choose kindness over ambition. But in the end, it's that very kindness that shapes the future we never dared to dream of. Destiny rewards those who act with love, and Ryan proved it with one choice in the middle of an earthquake.